Welcome to Only Ghosts in the Building. This is your host, Emily Claire.
And Karen Lynn. And today we have
Kelsey Hendrick.
And Colleen Krautheim.
You have heard them before. They are back.
They are back. So, you guys went and stayed overnight in Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania.
AKA My Haunted Manor, USA. My Haunted Project. They find haunted places and they put cameras in there and bring guests in, so they have static cameras and they record everything that happens.
So it was originally a home. It was built as a mansion by Samuel Miller in 1804, and it's right on the Susquehanna River, just a few hundred feet away. He bought it and lived there for a while, and then in 1811 it was purchased by Columbia Bank and Bridge Company. They built a bridge, and they used the tolls from the bridge to help support, I guess, the bank and the people there. But we're going to do a history later, which has more detail.
Because we found some really cool stuff about that. So you got to give us time on that one.
Yeah,
well, we got a lot to dig in.
The major thing that they found is it was actually part of the Underground Railway. Mm-hmm. And there is a tunnel there that is right now closed, but they're planning maybe to open it. Don't know.
They want to.
That's fun.
Excavate it. That's what I saw online. Is that the right word? Excavate?
Yeah.
Excavate.
Mm-hmm. Excavate.
But yes, they had an interesting history with the Underground Railway. It's a Quaker settlement, so that's typical of a lot of Quaker settlements. Even here in Delaware, there's safe houses that were used as the Underground Railway. Brenneman's Feed Mill purchased the building and operated it for a few years. And it flourished there until the early 1900s when it was bought by Baker Toy Company. Mm-hmm. And they made toys there. And I think some tin toys, I think they made back in those days. They made tin toys.
I saw they have some there, and I was just looking at the picture, and it was like a little mini bakery set, mm-hmm. and a little mini tool set.
Yeah, that's cute.
You pretend that you're sawing something.
Yeah, that was pre-plastic.
Yeah,
so
it was wooden tin. And I actually saw they have some stuff up on eBay to buy it.
Do they really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Like the old
really cool antique.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that was neat.
Made there.
Yeah.
So Columbia is an interesting town. It's really pretty, and I really want to go back and just enjoy the town.
Yeah.
It's really fun. After that, S&G Printing operated out of the building until 2017, and then it was sold to the current owners, Chris Raudaball.
Rowdy
is his name, and he is the owner of Art Printing Company. And he's the one that is kind of a host to My Haunted Manor and under contract with them for the use of their project.
Yeah. Him and Amy also. Amy also owns the place too. And she does certain things there. But he is mainly there during the day because he does the print shop there.
Mm-hmm. So the major house...
I found out he works on the print stuff. That was the old print shop stuff that was
so he uses the S&G
print stuff.
It looked like there were
Isn't
some
that
old
cool?
things. Yeah,
that is cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which means trigger objects.
Yes.
So it was originally the mansion, and I think the Brenneman's Feed Mill added on to that original building. So part of it is newer, and then part is the original mansion. You guys went on the 26th of July and did an overnight.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep.
We booked a private.
So that's really fun. I'm not sure I could do overnight, but you all did because
We
you're a lot
did.
younger.
I had no idea I could do it either, but
It was a ParaFriends party.
ParaFriends.
So you had 10 people with you in your group, and then there were a couple more that got added in. At least one more, right?
I think it was 10 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
10
I think so.
altogether.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Jason booked separate by himself.
Okay.
And
the
then
rest were the paranormal
And then
friends.
last was Ray, who jumped on.
You want to
last
shout
night.
out who was there?
Oh, we will. Yeah.
Okay. So Interstate Paranormal Research hosts the overnights, and any of the paranormal research for My Haunted Manor, so they're
Yeah.
contracted with My Haunted Manor to
So when the Bader boys and Daryl aren't there, they're the ones that are running the show. And they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes.
So you guys got there, what, about 8 o'clock? It was still a little bit light outside.
Oh yeah, it was late for a while.
Yeah, and you stayed until 5 in the morning or later?
No, later.
No, we're like 9 or 10
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
morning because we
Yeah.
did a second batch after we
Yeah,
slept.
after we woke up.
So how was
Air
it? How was
quotes.
it staying overnight? That was...
We'll get there. It was
An experience.
yes. Yeah, I guess things do ramp up.
Did you actually sleep?
I got
Kinda.
like 3. I had to sleep because I drove. So I was like, I need to sleep.
Yeah.
And then so I like got like 3-4 hours max, and then
Oh,
I like
okay.
cracked a Red Bull open.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
So-
few hours. I slept a few hours.
I think maybe like an hour and a half, maybe. But it was terrible sleep. But I have a hard time sleeping in my own bed.
So you were on cots, right? In
Yes.
the common room?
Well,
Or did
you
have your own individual?
Actually could sleep wherever you wanted in the
Oh,
building.
really?
We could move the cots, and April and Ron slept on the second floor. We just happened, most of us,
The four of us.
the 4 of us were in the parlor, and then
Parlor.
Jason was in the outside room by the bathroom.
Yeah, right on the
Right?
other side of the wall. He
So,
kind of.
yeah.
I was
Did his own
sleeping with
thing.
others. I needed to sleep with other people. In
Yeah.
Haunted
Oh,
Mansion.
no
yes.
question.
Yes.
I was not. And it was
Yes.
too hot.
Yeah.
I needed to be where it was cool.
That's right,
It was
'cause it was a
We
hot
were
day.
under the massive fan. So when something happened, we'll get into it, but something happened, and so I kind of moved my cot next to Colleen. I was like, I gotta go over here. But then my blanket was not thick enough, so I had to move back out from under the fan because I was freezing. I was like, all right, I'll move over, but I wanted to be near you guys. And I don't get scared like that, but I was like,
Little
your
bit
defenses are down when you're sleeping. I don't like stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
absolutely.
Uh-huh. And you had some experiences earlier
Well,
that
yes.
kind of made
Oh,
you
yeah.
a little
Yeah.
bit nervous about sleeping.
Yeah.
And literally right as we were laying down,
Yeah.
again, we'll
We
talk
had
about that
stuff.
shortly.
Yeah, that was.
So you
Crazy day.
guys got there,
Mm-hmm.
and then what happened?
So I kind of set up. Everybody came in. Well, let's go to who was there. So it was me and my mother-in-law Darlene, and we had Ray. Cindy and Sierra were working, and they were in the control room.
Excuse me. Ray is with
Interstate.
Interstate.
Yes. Well, Cindy and Sierra were actually working the event, and they were in the control room. They were doing the whole thing,
So
watching
they
the cameras.
could watch the cameras, see everybody, make sure nothing.
Yes.
But Ray actually came and joined our
Like
party.
Ray-
As
like
a
part of-
civilian.
Yes.
As
We
a civilian.
interviewed Ray as a part of
Yes, Interstate.
Interstate,
Yep.
along with Tony and Amber.
Mhm.
Amber's his wife.
And then we had
Go ahead.
Leela,
Layla.
Cora, Kelsey's friend,
Cora, Kelsey,
Yes.
and then
Colleen, Jason.
who
And Jason was new to everyone.
correct.
Yes.
He's from Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but he became one of us real fast. Because we manifest good groups. That's what this whole 6 Degrees of Emily Bacon ParaFriends is.
Yeah.
Smell bacon.
It is strong.
I have a web around me. It's my world and you're just living in it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So what was your plan? Did you sit down and have a plan of attack? or how you wanted
They
the
didn't
night
want to
go?
know anything when they walked in the door.
Who's they?
All the group.
Everybody.
Except for Ray knows stuff. But everyone else, they wanted to go in fresh and clean. And
Who had been of that group? Who had been there before besides you?
Ray.
Okay, you two were the only ones that
Uh-huh.
had been. Okay,
Yep.
so it was all new.
Yeah, and we kind of chatted before, and I talked to Trey as well, trying to get things so I can make little experiments and try and see if we had validation come through, because I really wanted that.
I think it was important. I don't know if it was you or April to go in blindly. So I didn't do any research. I didn't look online. I wanted to because I love the history.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch the My Haunted Project videos. And I'm like, no, you know what? It was the best thing ever going in blindly, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any preconception.
Yeah, and you didn't.
Preconceived
So
notions
that's
of
the
what-
one, yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched them actually post investigation, and I actually like thought that was really cool to like go back and watch how they started My Haunted Manor and like all of the stuff that they found before they let any people in the door.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy, because then the same stuff was happening to us. So
Yes.
it was like really cool to watch.
So Emily and I were there at
The grand opening.
opening, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
saw
I'm familiar with.
you guys on the video.
And when so usually they go in and they offer you a tour and give you some history, but we all said prior to that, we're not doing that.
Okay.
And even when we went the first time, I wasn't paying attention. I want to go in blind
Well,
to things.
what I thought, because when we went, there were a lot of people there
Yes.
for the grand opening.
Yeah.
And they broke us into groups, and then they took some groups on in different areas.
Yeah.
And to me, it was confusing.
Yeah.
Because you went here, and then you had to go there, and you had, all through
Right.
the house, and it's dark.
Yes.
It's not like they have lighting everywhere. So to me, it was a little bit confusing. So the tour was helpful, but not that much to me.
Yeah.
'Cause then I was overwhelmed.
And so I thought starting from top and going to the bottom, the first round,
Because it has 3 floors.
because there's 4 floors. There's
Well, including the
1, 2,
basement.
3, and a basement. So we went all the way up to the 3rd floor to start, and that was so hot. It
Yes.
was so hot.
Well, it was we're talking about 90-degree
Yeah.
days, and there's
Yes.
no central
Yeah.
air.
Nothing.
right?
But going back really quick to what
Yeah.
we just said, what was nice was Cindy and Sierra did offer, once they found
Yes.
out none of us, they both said, if there's anybody in the group, if you would like any information, they were there the whole night. So they
Right,
said, just
yeah.
come and chat with us. So even as an individual, you could go and say, hey, and ask questions and things like that. They were available the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That was nice of them.
It was a real live person. It was not a ghost behind you. Sorry.
So
Sorry, Emily was just looking behind me and I thought she saw something, but it was
I did. It was a person though. Not from all the other times when I see somebody walking down the stairs.
yeah,
That's
that
not
was
a
a
real
real
person.
live person.
Yes.
So my question is, was Spooky there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best.
Spooky the cat.
Was an emotional support cat for me, especially
Okay.
during certain situations where I was like, oh, spooky.
Yeah. Like you would walk through, because they kind of try and keep her to the print shop area. So like it goes around that area and they try to not let her in everywhere else. And so like we would walk through and she'd be like, meow.
Spooky owns that place.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah.
They put a camera on her, a spooky cam.
They got
What
a
do they
spooky
call it?
cam.
Spooky
I
cam.
love that.
To try to.
Oh, I love it. I didn't realize that.
I think the
That's
first
great.
time they did it didn't work.
Yeah, she just hid up in
She's
the rafters.
Rafter.
Yeah.
They Trey said they're trying to.
Sorry,
Oh, I didn't hear it.
trying to, I guess,
Catch
get
what
better.
she sees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get better at putting the camera and getting her to do things,
Yeah.
go different places. But yeah, spooky. I love spooky.
Spooky cam. Okay, so I had some things to go by, and I thought, okay, we'll do top to bottom, and I felt like that was probably good for us because you got situated on the on the 3rd floor, then you kind of like everybody trickled down to the 2nd floor and got situated there, and then, we went.
So you didn't
boom,
have
boom,
people
boom, boom.
over you, and
Right.
so it kind of
Right.
you knew where everyone
Yes,
was.
Yes.
we pretty much knew where
so
everyone
you could
is.
verify if you heard something that somebody was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we were up on the 3rd floor. Is that where we're going?
3rd floor is sweating on the 3rd floor.
Sweating on the 3rd floor.
Oh my gosh, I think you had clocked almost 100 degrees at one
Yeah.
point, right?
Yeah.
And that would have been,
All 10 of us were
what,
there.
between 8 and 8:30 p.m.?
Yeah.
And no air flowing through.
Well,
no
all
air.
the windows
no.
are boarded up.
Yeah, not-
Yeah, there's no window panes in it, but they're all boarded up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was dark and hot.
So it was dark by the time you started.
Well, it was not
Well, it
dark
was dark up
outside.
there.
No,
it
but
was dark
up there,
inside.
but you're
though.
not getting any
Mhm.
light.
Sun
No
was-
ambient light.
No.
Sun was down, but it still was kind of bright out. Like it was
Yeah.
still kind of working its way past.
Yeah.
And it is dark up there. It's and it's close.
Yeah,
It's
we were
close
10 of
quarters.
us in one room at a time.
We were in that magic window room, right?
Yeah, that was
I mean,
hot, very dark and hot.
Didn't Ron go through the window,
So
the
Ron-
magic, and he set up
Did he
the
do
music
his
box?
flashlights?
Yeah.
We did. He did the
did
flashlights too.
flashlights.
So he went through the magic window room and put the music box in there, and then he put the flashlight on the ledge. I believe. Did you put your recorder
I put my recorders.
on the steps on the ladder
No,
No?
I put it in the in the window.
in the window?
Yeah.
Maybe I think maybe I put mine on the
Maybe.
steps of the ladder.
Yeah.
And then Leila did what's that? That's rope string.
rope light,
the
Para
rope-
rope
Yes.
across the doorway, which does, what does it do? It's EMF,
temperature.
temperature, EMF and temperature? Was that the two?
I feel like there
And
might have been one
and-
more.
And is it touch or so you have to touch it or
No.
with the
I
EMF
think it's
it just
just EMF,
Yeah.
touch, and then it's kind of like a REM pod as well, I think. So like if anything comes around a certain space, it lights up where it is.
Yeah.
If that makes
Okay.
sense.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when, because there were, and it was like, it has different colors, like red and
Yeah.
purple.
But she was saying, I don't think anything happened because each time we said the colors, when I was watching the videos, she was like, no, it was just like recalibrating or
Yeah.
sensing temperature and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then we had the Parabell. What was
Yeah.
it? The
dead bell.
the dead bell. That's it.
Yeah, and that one's an EMF meter.
So the dead bell reminds me of when people used to get buried. And they had the string that went down in
Yes.
the coffin. If they actually woke up, they could ring the bell. Now, I don't know who was hanging around the,
Cemetery, right?
cemetery to hear the bell ring,
But you figure it happens so often that people were buried alive
Yes.
and they realized that this was a way that they could, oh goodness, no.
No.
yes, no, that
No.
would.
But this is more like a front desk bell where you ding, ding, ding.
Oh, school bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you set up your, what are they called?
Oh, the grid light.
The grid lights.
The grid light, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever using it. I was very excited about it.
A laser grid.
Yeah.
Laser grid.
And I put
It's
it
more
on
fun.
That was
the
cool.
rocking chair in the other room. So we were in the room to the left, and then there's a room to the right that had a rocking chair, like center room.
Yeah.
And that third floor what was that used for? Do you remember did they tell you was it bedrooms or servants' quarters?
No,
or-
because there's the servants' quarters
On
are
the
a whole
second,
different thing.
yeah, the second floor, I think there were servants'
so
quarters.
maybe it was storage and like, I don't know. But there are two different rooms and the landing, and the kind of like.
And is it true
I don't
that behind
know.
the magic room, wasn't that the addition too? I
Yes.
recall.
That's the
I thought,
addition.
yes.
And
With
I
the
guess-
feed
Yes,
mill and
yes.
stuff.
Right, yeah. See, the mansion was, so a lot of the rooms that you're seeing, I guess, if you're facing it from the outside on the right-hand side would be the addition. for
Right,
that.
right. That makes sense.
So that magic window. And the ladder, there's a ladder that goes up. Now, I had heard before that there was a little boy that was spotted on the ladder. in
I think he's
previous
been spotted
episodes.
more than once.
Right, but you didn't get anything from that.
And
No.
further into the night, Sierra actually gave me a little tip. She was like, if you want to go back up on the third floor, they have gotten a lot of activity with the cat balls with the little boy. Like if you roll, they said that if you roll it, sometimes he either stops it and then rolls it back to you,
Oh,
or they've had like where he just stops it. Like
Uh-huh.
you roll it and it'll start
Yes.
lighting up and stopping. Like it'll be rolling pretty like actively, and then it'll just stop
Wow.
So they've had that experience
multiple times.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
I didn't know that
there. I
one.
didn't either.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It was too hot up there for me. I did not go back.
So you guys left there. Was
Well,
anything else that
Kelsey-
happened there?
Well, so we had April doing her spirit talker, so we got some of that. We had the dead bell on the landing, and then the EMF meter on the stairway middle landing. Does that make sense?
And I
Like,
think
when it
the
goes
music
down.
box was inside the
It
magic
was,
window,
yeah,
it was.
but that didn't go off. It
No,
wasn't.
it didn't.
I think I might have it while we weren't there. I think I might have heard it,
Oh, okay.
or I didn't, and I'm hearing the second floor, but like the buzzy bee or whatever.
Yeah, the music and that one
'Cause-
box kept playing.
Twinkle,
Yeah.
twinkle.
Yes. So I definitely have that on my recorder, but I think it would have been louder if it had been in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I left it there for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you guys went
So you went
downstairs.
downstairs. Who did you go with again?
Well, wait a second. Did Ron's flashlight go off on the magic window?
I think he was having problems with it.
Yeah, I don't recall
We
anything
didn't get
big
really-
happening on the third floor in the
Okay.
beginning. No,
Yeah.
it was pretty quiet aside from the bell. Yeah,
Yeah.
there really was not much.
I did notice later that like the more people were on the third floor, the less active it was, because you then had started having some stuff
Right.
happening.
Yeah.
There was only two people up there.
Right.
Because I went downstairs because I was really hot, and I was like, I'm just gonna go downstairs and start investigating in the children's room. And I think it was me, Cora, Ray, and Jason. They followed, and I started getting some activity down there with like they have this Buzzy Bee toy that they like, so we turned that on, and
So you spread out on the second floor.
Yeah.
So
Well, they were in the kids' room.
we were in the kids' room. We were the first
Okay.
people to kind of leave, and then
Okay.
everybody was like straggling behind us, kind
Okay.
of. So we were sitting there, and I was just kind of trying to see if I can get any answers. And they also have that dog EMF reader.
Yeah. The
that
dog.
is the dog. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, and what's the name of
It's
the dog?
not an EMF reader, it's a touch reader.
Yeah.
It's a touch reader,
it
but
is.
there's
You
a
have
name.
to
Cool, too.
stroke
Yes.
There's a name of
It
a
went off
dog.
here.
Apparently, they get a lot in the house, and they
Oh.
named the dog after it. I found
it.
that
I
out
had
later
no
too.
idea.
We'll have to. I can't remember what it is. I want to say it starts with an M, but the dog has a name because they keep getting it coming up in Estes.
Oh, that's
So then they
fun.
call it that, and they get more activity when they say, "Can you pet so and so?" And then it also go off.
Oh, that's cool.
I remember Sierra telling me that. But I started like talking and trying to see if I can get anybody to pet the dog. Nothing was going on, and then I turned on Buzzy Bee. That started active right away.
Mm-hmm.
Activity was going off. The cat balls were going off, and then you came down and put the dead bell.
I didn't put the dead
No.
bell. Okay.
And Cobb put the dead
Colleen.
bell. But anyways, we started getting activity. She was still upstairs, and all of a sudden, dead stop on
So
activity.
Colleen was still upstairs.
Yes.
You were downstairs with the busy bee.
I went to go get water because I was so thirsty.
Yeah, you left your camera though. You left your
Yes.
phone
Well,
running.
I brought that down and I set up my Canon camera,
Mhm.
and then I also set up my phone.
And I was getting like very like increased like feelings of sadness.
Yeah.
So I was trying to get. I was asking questions about like, are you feeling sad? Or are you trying to make me feel sad?
Yeah.
And no activity. It was like nothing. But I still was feeling the sadness, but nothing.
Yeah.
And then you were getting
So-
some activity upstairs.
Right, so at that point, Ron and I had stayed up on the third floor. He had the flashlights. I think the grade was still there, and we were just trying to do a couple things. And I was looking down the stairs, and through the slats, on the shadow on the wall going up, I saw a shadow pass through the slats from the light. So at first I'm like, okay, it had to be one of us. So Ron and I'm like, Ron, wave your arms. And we were both doing that up on the third floor to see if we did something to show a shadow there. And it wasn't anything from us. And I asked a couple of you on the second floor, come walk by the bottom of the steps from the third floor to the second floor, see if we can figure
Debunk
that.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I actually went down the steps to see if me walking up would cause that shadow to appear. And everything I did, there was no way to debunk this shadow.
Yeah.
So once we started putting everything together, and Kelsey was like, okay, all the activity stopped, this shadow comes up the steps, and then the dead bell rings, because the dead bell was at the
Was
top
still
of the
at the
third.
top of the-
Yes,
Yeah,
we
okay.
hadn't moved it, and it rang, and it was like, whatever was happening
I'm
came
here.
up to the third floor with
Yeah.
Ron and me.
Set off that EMF, because it's technically an EMF that
Yeah.
would ring the
Yes.
bell.
Yeah.
So walked right over top of it and
Yeah.
set the bell off.
And
Yeah.
I cannot explain the shadow. It looked like a blob,
Yeah.
actually, like a cloud, a dark cloud. But it went in between the slats of the railing, and it just reflected on the wall. So I tried to do everything possible
Yeah.
to rule it out and debunk it, and I couldn't.
Is
Yeah.
that similar to the shadow that you saw at Fort Mifflin?
I think the
You didn't see the Fort Mifflin.
No,
she
she
didn't.
didn't.
See it.
We did.
Yeah.
But it was more of a shape of a person though. When
Yeah.
I saw it, it was more of like you didn't see like a head and shoulders, but you saw like it was like the
Right, the
Like, size of a person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
okay.
did you see that, like it looked like a person, or it just like?
No, it
It
didn't.
just looked
was
like a shadow.
it looked like it kind of looked like a cloud, like a dark cloud that came up. It was quick, although I didn't. I mean, it was really fast. So could it have been the bust of someone? Maybe, but I didn't see that when it passed up.
So it was not big.
It was a pretty good size. I would say, probably 2 feet high. 2 feet. It was a pretty good size
And it
shadow
was-
that came up. It was a big.
Was it close to the bottom, the step, or was it up
No, it was
there?
high up. So the way
Okay.
the way the shadow appeared through the slats of the railing, it was pretty high up. So I'm gonna say right in the middle of the steps, it had to be a good 6 feet above the actual steps.
So like
where
if it
the
was like somebody's head, like a 6 foot tall man's
it could
head,
have
just to the head.
it could have been someone again. I didn't. Yes,
Yeah.
I guess it
It
could
was
have
so
been.
fast. So just so you know, they caught 2 different things about that size moving across the hallway like this. They have that on video.
Who's they?
The same night we were
The
there.
My Haunted Manor guys. No,
Oh, okay.
different.
Okay.
They had it before that. And so that's why I kind of wanted to see on the hallway in the second floor. And it's moving from one side to the next through the hallway, like the door frames. And I can't, we'd have to find it, but it's on their YouTube or on their Facebook. So
I'd be interested to see what that looks
Yeah.
like because it's a shame I did not have my
Yeah.
phone on at the time. I was just looking. I kept
Yeah.
looking down to see what everyone was doing, and I happened to catch it by
Yeah.
mistake. I wasn't.
yeah, I
Doing
can't
anything.
wait for you to see that because that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably the same.
And you weren't
same thing.
expecting to see anything, so it's
No,
not
I
like
wasn't.
you're, because one of the problems that I have is like, do I really see it, or is it my brain wanting to see something?
Right.
And there's a word for that. but-
Pareidolia.
Yes,
Yeah,
pareidolia. I love that.
There's a word for that.
Very cool.
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia. So your mind, will fill in blanks or make up the things, or if it's dark, you don't know whether your eyes are playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
That
That's
kind
why
of
you
thing.
always need to have validation. That's why when
Yeah.
at Fort Mifflin, when
Yeah.
I was seeing the thing walk by, I was like, "You guys seeing that?" And they're like, "Yeah."
So you saw it just once or a couple times?
Just once, and it was very quick. I mean, within a second or two, it was.
Like-
It literally looked like it was going right up the
Just
steps.
drifted
Right up the steps.
Coming up
Yep.
the steps.
and it set off the bell.
Yes.
Yay!
Mhm.
Nothing else, just that.
That's it.
So I want to know. I'm gonna send this to Trey and see if he can go through the stuff from that night and see if there's any video of that happening.
Did
Because
they have video?
the
did they
video
have some
camera
of
would
them?
have been behind you.
I was just going to ask
Right,
because if it
right.
was facing the steps,
Yes.
then it
Yes.
most likely would have gotten it because that's exactly where I would.
Well,
And-
I think not all the time. IR does not always catch stuff like that we see with our human
right.
eyes. So
and
I-
vice versa.
and vice versa. Yeah, and even with EMFs or not EMFs, with EVPs, sometimes we hear audible, but it doesn't get recorded, or vice versa. So this stuff is tricky. What are we gonna
And
say?
then we'll be able to rule out too. I'm
Yeah.
95% sure that when that happened, we were all sitting. So I was on the couch, Corlin was in the chair to my right, Jason was to my left, and Ray was in front of me. We were all sitting he was on the bed, and then your mother-in-law was sitting in the chair next. So we were all sitting, nobody was standing.
Yeah.
Because when you came down and asked us, we were all
Right.
still sitting.
And I specifically asked someone to walk back and forth to get up and move over by
Yeah.
the steps. So as I was standing up, looking down to see if
Now,
it was-
didn't I come up right after that? Up
You
the
did.
stairs? Where was I?
You were down getting
I
water.
was getting the water, and then I came up and looked in to see you guys, and then walked upstairs.
and we were
you
finishing
guys-
up just to go back downstairs.
Yeah.
And I think after
Yeah,
that you
we
came
did.
down.
We
You
did.
left the bell on the table, and then we all went back downstairs. You brought the bell down because you didn't
Yeah.
want to leave it upstairs. And then
Or maybe I did. I don't
No,
know.
it was her.
It was
I don't
her.
feel like
it was
I-
you. I
that's
have it
it.
on video. That's the reason why I know.
I don't remember that, but okay.
So when you came down the second floor, there wasn't anything going on for you, Colleen, but your experience, Kelsey, was the sadness,
Yeah.
which was an interesting story.
And then
with
I
that.
came back. We were downstairs all having like a snack at a break.
Yeah.
Because we're we need snacks. And I was telling them how sad I felt. And I was like, I've never felt like that before. Like, I've never felt like an overcoming feeling of sadness. And Darlene, she said, well, I did notice there's a picture upstairs that says a picture of postpartum depression.
Yeah.
And it was like a bell went off, or like a light went off in my head. I was like, that's what I felt.
Well, and then you literally had a bell go off.
And then a bell later went off. But like, it was literally like something went off in my head.
Yeah,
and
you're like, oh.
if I could describe my emotions,
Yeah.
that's what it would be, like a depression, sadness.
Like, you're never gonna. I went through postpartum depression, and it is. You just don't feel like you're ever gonna be happy again.
Exactly.
And I feel like out of everyone, you were really connected to that kids' room that night.
I
like
was,
you
yes.
out of everybody.
There's a lot of activity that
Yeah.
happens in that kids' room. When we
Yeah.
were there, we had a lot of activity. There, actually, in the room outside of it is when you did the
Estes in room X.
You were an esthetician.
Oh no.
Wow.
But
Mom jokes.
She's the queen of puns.
So
does that make her very punny?
I'm punny.
Yes.
I'm punny. So that is where you had your session when you were there
On the
before,
grand opening.
and there wasn't anything other than your Estes session where you had the interaction with,
And the person that walked right up to me, and I
Yes.
was like, you need to back up.
and that was a negative
Yes.
entity. Where usually the children, and when we were there, when was that, March?
Yeah.
We had a young guy who had
Never
sat
had
on the bed
and never had an experience before.
Never. It was totally new to him. And he worked for the local radio station, and he's excited to be there because he wanted to see experiences. He had someone sit on his leg when he was sitting on the bed. And it's always been a lot of things going off in that room, whatever music
Yeah.
boxes or cat balls or,
Yeah.
all kinds of different things people bring into that room, but it's never a negative.
And we leave
So I'm
candy,
wondering-
we leave toys.
Right.
We kind of do that as an offering to them.
So that is a different experience. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if, my haunted manor would have anything similar happen to anyone else there. Autolite.
Yeah.
And I wonder if a person was just channeling through you, like having you feel what she was feeling,
Because I was asking those questions. I was like, are you trying to tell me how you're feeling right now?
Yes.
And then we started having Buzzy Bee go off, and
Yeah.
then the dog went off. And I was like, okay, well, this must be yes. I didn't
Yeah.
ask yes or no. I mean, like, I did ask, is this what you're making me feel? And then stuff started to happen. So
Right.
I think that was them trying to tell me, yes.
And I
this is
had
what
that
I've
on video.
And
Yes.
that would have been interesting if you had dowsing rods and
I
asked
know.
the questions.
Yeah.
That would
Right.
have been really super to have that at that
Yeah.
point.
And
But-
you also said that because you're not a usually emotional person,
No.
right? You were saying, so to get those feelings, it felt weird to you,
Yeah,
right?
I call myself not like a sensitive, but I always feel other people's things. So like I work in medical, I'm an empath, yeah. So if I'm working in the medical field, somebody comes in and has something horrible happen for them, I feel what they're feeling. It's always happened. So I feel like that's maybe they felt that, and they were like, I want to show you
Right.
how I'm feeling right now. But it was crazy, the fact that she validated the picture. And then I went up and I think I might have taken a picture of that picture.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to like have that and say, okay, this is what I felt and this is what it looked like. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Now I don't think that is not from the My Haunted Manor guys. That is from somebody previously. They drew, like, there was a psychic that came in and drew pictures, which is funny because I also drew pictures after I got home from the first one. But yeah, so I don't know if there's any validation on if that person actually existed, if there's any record of this woman
So
being
upstairs
there.
on the second floor was the children's room, but what else was there?
Well, there is the servants' quarters, and then there's like the addition has a kitchen. They call it the kitchen,
And
and
was
that's
that-
on the other side of the staircase.
So when
There's
was
the
that?
control room there,
The control room's there.
and so the addition got built. What was it? The feed store.
When
Do
the
you remember?
feed-
1872.
1872. So that's the whole additional part So there's one room, 2 rooms to the front with a little like hallway kind of sitting area, and then 2 rooms to the back. And then there's a whole servants' quarters where you walk down, and there's 3 rooms back there, and then 2 more rooms that you can't go in because it's falling apart.
Okay.
So this place is huge.
It is, and
Huge.
I just remember the 2 rooms. I know,
Yeah.
I know we went through more, but that's the only
Yes.
one that I remember.
So there's 4 that they use with all the blue lights, which and one of them is a kid's room.
Yes.
And then there's that other side room that they call the kitchen, and it was on the addition. And then the whole control room that I haven't been in.
I was in the
It's
control room.
Yeah.
It was actually really cool to see. It's big. It's a
Yeah.
big room.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like all where like their storage is. Like it's a lot of like print shop storage.
Another
Okay.
interesting thing on the second floor, there were X's on a couple of the doors.
Right.
And people were writing different things. So
Oh,
on one
yeah.
door that goes into the servants' quarter, it looked like a list. It was like food. Like someone was writing down a food order, but it was written in old timey, like it was definitely like before. It looked like it could have been like the 30s, 40s, 50s. Like it was
Yeah.
not. It was very
like a fish
distinct.
platter was like $5.
It was, but when you, and then going up the steps to the second floor and to the right, there was another. Remember that wall that was encased in the plastic, and there was a ton of writing there that they were trying to save.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
in
with
the
the
kitchen.
wallpaper. Oh, that was the kitchen.
That was the kitchen, and that was
I didn't
they
realize
had like people from different eras that wrote on it.
Yes.
Like something about World War II, like
So
all kinds of different stuff.
when was the kitchen part of which,
Grain.
when the grain was there?
Yeah.
Okay. So that could have been, did they supply people food there as well?
Maybe.
But it would
Because
have been on
it
the
seemed
second
like there
floor.
were a lot of people that in the military stopping in there. Because they were military men that wrote on the wall.
The train tracks are right there, so and
They could have stayed.
Like a boarding house. It would
Maybe
make
so,
sense. That would
yeah.
be interesting to look into.
Yeah.
See if-
they had like the print shop downstairs and then stuff upstairs.
Yeah, so
No.
they were there until about the late 1800s to early 1900s, with the feed mill, and then after that it was the Baker Toy Company, and then S&G Printing. So if it was military on a train, it probably would have been used for something after that, maybe during World War I or during World War II,
Yeah.
that didn't get captured in these little notes. There may be
Yeah.
more, because a lot of times during the war, you had soldiers traveling through places,
And they
coming
needed
from
Mhm.
one place
to rest.
another.
Well, if you think about it, during World War II, a lot of places that weren't needed, like if it wasn't essential, it was shut down.
Right.
So that could have been like, okay, the feed shop is not that. It's essential to a point.
Well, when the automobile came in,
Exactly.
it wasn't really
So
needed
they could
anymore.
have used that as not a halfway house, but like a stop on the train
Yeah.
for military.
Because I
Yeah.
guess they used that feed for horses and wagons crossing the river. This says so people would cross the river, the Susquehanna, in wagons, and that would be a stopover for them.
This is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think we've got a lot of stuff to look into.
yeah, that's going to be.
So after
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
were on the second floor, I'm just trying to segue
Yeah.
into the next part. We went for a break. You were upstairs still. We called you
Yeah.
and said we went to basement.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm coming. Don't go yet. Don't go yet.
So you were on the third floor.
No, I was on the I was in the room
With
with
Leela.
Leela in
Okay.
the kids' room
Did you
and
do-
doing an
did-
Estes.
You did Estes. Did
Yeah,
you get
and she was
anything?
like, yes, but I don't remember what it is. I have it recorded,
Okay.
so I have a whole
But it
bunch of
wasn't
stuff
like
I need to
the
go
last
through.
time you did it in that area on the second floor, was it?
It wasn't this. I was I was sitting on the bed in the kids' room. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
you
I did
got-
get Colleen. I did remember getting Colleen
And
through
we're
there.
actually, when you got Colleen,
Uh-huh.
we were by the door, like biting our fingernails, waiting to go downstairs.
And
Yeah.
that's down near the print
So-
shop.
Print
on the
shop.
first
Yes. So Jason and April went down to the basement before anyone, and they
Yeah.
were down there, and I was dying to get down, so I kind of went down quickly. And as soon as I got down there, you had said, "Oh, I heard Colleen's name up there."
Yeah.
And I think April or Jason said, "Oh, Colleen's here now. Would you like to talk to her?" And it came up on the spirit box, "Violate." And as soon as I
Yeah.
said that, Emily yells down, "Get up here right now!
Get up
Get
here.
And
protection!"
Yeah.
then you said like leave her alone, stay down there. You were
Yes.
like very much like keeping like putting a hard
Yes.
stop on that person from following you up
Yes.
the stairs.
Well,
Because
yeah.
he's not supposed to come up.
So we'll talk about the basement.
Yeah.
So after your break, you were upstairs. You were anxious to go to the basement.
Yeah.
Carrying on. We've got you on video. Doing
Meh.
things,
But
right?
Being a
yeah.
little silly, yes.
But I wanted to. I didn't want them to go down yet
Without because you wanted to. do
I
the
wanted. I
protection.
needed to do a protection over them because April and I both do Reiki, and I wanted to put a protection up for everybody because of how affected physically we all were the first time that we were there, and I didn't want that to drain us or make it hard for us, or God forbid we have an attachment. So I wanted to do that before, but I also then wanted to bring Ron down because he is physically sensitive. We know he's been touched before. And I wanted to get him down there because he is a man, and he is a man that is going to be like, I'm protecting these women. These are my women. And then I also wanted to see what he physically felt because I wanted to know. So I was like,
you're still,
give me
you're
5 minutes.
Still up there, wanting to go down. And Emily, so were April and Jason still in the basement?
No,
They
they
came
came
up.
right up. When
Oh,
Emily,
okay.
we all came up for the
Okay.
protection,
And-
and then
yeah, and
you
I-
and Ron went down, and we decided to tour the print shop
Yeah.
while
Okay.
they were downstairs.
And did you find anything in the print shop? Or wasn't anything?
No,
going
we
on
weren't
there?
really investigating.
It was
so.
We
yeah, it
were
was
just
pretty.
walking around and just
Okay.
kind of.
I did put down the EMF.
Yeah.
But nothing happened, and I think April and I and Jason, like we just said a couple things, but no, it was pretty quiet back there at the print
Yeah.
shop.
Well, yeah, you have to really work for him to come out.
You have heard.
But
You've heard our story of the experience in the print
Where we
shop.
sang to
The
Thomas.
music.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the only way we
Okay.
got anything going on.
Okay, yeah, we
Yeah.
weren't really hardcore because we honestly were so focused. I know I was so focused on getting down that basement. Like
Yeah.
that's where I wanted to go,
Right.
which is why I ran down.
Wonder
Yeah.
why you felt so strongly. I mean, I know other than curiosity, do you feel like you were drawn there?
I was
Yeah.
because
why.
I was like, yes, I was ready.
And did you know anything about the basement before
No,
we went there?
aside from Emily saying we just need to be careful down there, and she was very good
And
not to say anything else.
What did you tell us?
I said, if you feel sick, if there's any physical feelings, bail. If you get any bad feelings, bail. If you get shaky, bail.
And you still wanted
Like,
to go
go.
after all that.
I did, and at one point when we were down there, I even stupid idea said to everyone, "Is everyone okay if we turn all the lights out down the basement?" And we said, I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I did not feel any negativity for myself, and I do believe that you and April protected us.
Yeah.
The whole time I was there, even though that thing happened with my name, whatever,
Yeah.
I did not feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So something was really drawing you to the basement.
See,
is
I did
really
not
funny.
think of that, but with
Yeah.
you, I guess as an outsider,
Yes.
yes, I did. That didn't even occur to me, but absolutely, positively, yes.
Especially since you really didn't know anything.
Yes, I
about
think you're
that.
right.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that is.
Did you feel drawn? Did you care?
I did. I was excited because I was like, I knew about the railroad and I wanted to see that.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like a
the
history
Underground
nerd.
Railroad. Yeah.
So, and I wanted to see like the railroad and like really get down there and like
Yeah, there's not. You
Yeah.
didn't see too much of it. But
no, but like
yeah.
see the door and
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
see like
Mhm.
what it looked like and like if it was because I saw pictures and it was so short. And
Yeah.
I wanted to see like were they
Mhm.
like crawling like whatever.
Yeah.
But I was really excited for that portion. But yeah, we get down there.
And I start
So-
playing music.
Well, before that, what happened with you? Yeah, with you and Ron before we came down.
Yeah. So with Ron, we walked down first. I think he walked down first. And as soon as he got right at, like, his foot hit the bottom of the step, all his whole body, I'll have him tell this story, but he said all the hair on his body stood up. All the hair on his neck he felt like he just walked into something, like static electricity kind of feel. Like it was like something affected him. And then once he walked out of that first little room, he was fine. And so he set up his stuff and we kind of like felt things, but he wasn't.
I find that interesting though,
Yeah.
because when you use the dowsing rods,
That's where
which
it
you're
led
gonna-
me.
right?
Yeah. So I think that was interesting, and I played some historical music, some slave music, and then some Civil War time music, just to get that, because I've done the guy in the basement, the bad guy in the basement, like I wanted to see if we could come up with anything else. I was like, can we just drum that up? And like, kind of, no. Nope.
Well, the one spirit kind of overshadows the others.
Yes.
So you want to try to pull the other ones out.
Yeah. And it didn't work.
Give them some more.
So then
Power.
we came down
Yeah.
when you had the
Came
music
down.
playing. We all came down.
And everybody, found their seats and got comfortable and pulled out their Estes.
So if to kind of picture it, you go down the steps, you have to go all the way straight back. The Underground Railroad entrance is to your right. We
Yeah.
made a left, and in the back of the room to the left is where all the chairs were, where we
Yeah.
could sit and kind of experiment a little.
Yeah, it would be, if you were upstairs, it would be where the front doors, the front entrances were. That's the front entrance against that wall is where the chairs are. And then there's, towards the parlor area, there's a place that you can't get into because it's crumbled. So, which I'm pretty sure
And
that's,
then they have the area that's blocked off.
yeah, where the man hides.
That's the one, when we were there, then we were the chairs, and then
Yeah. Now, my first time, I sat down and I felt like something was like dripping on my head. Like it was really weird. It was like blah.
As soon as we got down there and you sat
When
Or
my
the first time with-
when I went there the first time.
in March.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So not
Yeah.
when. Okay.
And then we were all physically like shaking
Right.
and stuff. And it wasn't really that cold. It was only 65
Yeah,
and we're all
it was-
wearing
Right.
hoodies.
So when we got down there, Ray decided he did the Estes method.
Phasma
The
box.
entire time we were down there the first time, Ron sets up his flashlight on the furnace.
Is it water heater or
One of the
furnace?
heaters
Yeah.
that as soon and he puts the flashlight there facing us so
Yeah.
we can watch everything. Do
Yeah.
you get on? Who gets on first?
I did. And then
get on. So
You
he had
passed
the
to me,
Phasma
but-
box, right?
he had the Phasma box Estes method.
Right.
So he had the blindfold on, he had his
This is
headphones
Ray.
on, and that's Ray. And I also did mine, but I don't have a Phasma box. I have my Spirit Box app
Okay.
that I use. So I did that, but I don't really think that I got very much. I was just like, all right.
I think a couple of times with you and Ray, when you said words, we were asking questions and there were a few connections, but nothing stands out
Yeah.
the first time pretty much.
Right.
And then what was going on with you and April over on the side? Remember you said April was feeling.
Yes, well, not yet. So you were.
No, you guys were for me.
We were. Okay.
She got up and then I was like, oh, maybe let's take this chair because I was standing and I wanted to sit.
Okay, because April went back to that spot at
Later
another,
on.
later on,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
I'm mixing up. So she felt sitting in that back corner where you can't go. She felt something the entire time she sat there.
Right.
Like right in front of it.
So
That
what
dude.
did she explain what she was feeling?
It was definitely a male, negative.
Yeah.
And he hung right behind her, looming over her the whole time. And I have easily 30 pictures of her just sitting there leaning over on her knees and her hands out, and at some point she's got her hand over her forehead. I mean, she could say it a lot better, but I just have
Yeah.
like the visuals of her.
Yeah.
Because when she kept saying that, I wanted to see if I could maybe capture something with my phone. I did not. I would have to look closer, but nothing jumped out when I reviewed.
Yeah.
Oh, let's hope not.
Right? I was trying though. I was trying. So then when you were done, you passed it to Kelsey.
I went and sat over where April after
but
she
in
got
that
up.
corner.
In that spot, because she didn't say this out loud that she felt that.
Yeah.
She just kind of got up and
She
was
was quiet.
She was very quiet until, I mean, most of the time we kind of all keep it to ourselves until we go
So
upstairs.
a lot of times when you feel things like that, you kind of get.
Yeah.
You experienced that at Fort Mifflin, right?
Yes.
When you were doing
Yes, when she got lost in the Estes.
I got,
Yes,
and
and
April
you-
was like
she
3
was
seconds.
watching you get smaller and smaller almost, or leaning into yourself.
Yeah.
So was April kind of doing
She
that?
well, she was because
Yeah,
you know
she
she
was
really,
bent
She
over
really, the entire
with
time
her
she was bent over.
Knees like this.
She
was
was,
like this.
and at some point she's like this, and
with
she
her
was,
hand on her head.
With her hand on her
Imagine
head, yeah.
when you feel like you're gonna pass out and people tell you to put your head between your knees.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, or like you feel like you're gonna pass out and you start bending over.
Yeah.
That's what you're picturing.
Yeah,
I'm trying to explain how
well, that
you're,
is how,
you're
yes.
doing it and they can't
Well, I was
see you.
trying to explain it.
Yeah.
So when we were there the first time, I was sitting in one of the chairs next to you, and you said you were feeling feelings, I guess tingly or
I-
not cold.
No, I wasn't
Shaking.
cold, but we
You
were
were
shaking, violently, physically shaking. I could not control the shaking.
Yes.
Like I couldn't calm it down. I couldn't, but I wasn't cold.
And I was freezing, and I was doing the same thing now that I look back at it. I was like this, but I was freezing the whole time. I could not wait to get out of there.
Yeah.
And you were in that same spot
In
in
the
the
same-
corner.
I
No,
was-
not that place.
Not-
we were against the wall.
Against
Okay.
the wall.
Where I was sitting.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the
But
other chairs.
also,
Tony was standing
Tony
there.
was there, but they said that they sometimes walk behind.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was
Yeah.
maybe part of what we were feeling is.
Yeah. People there.
And then Morgan was in the middle of the room.
Yeah,
And
kind of.
she
She was
was doing
just,
her
she could not stop talking and saying all the things that he was,
Yeah.
she was trying to explain what he did to the girl down there.
She
Like,
did
she was
give
going
them
through
the
everything.
information. But
Yes.
to me, that basement was horrible.
Well, I went under Estes, and
Yeah.
now that I'm like this epiphany, I feel like me and Estes, like that's where I get my most.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
another esthetician.
I know, and I feel like
So.
every time I get like really affected from it because the first time I got that horrible migraine the next day, and then I also was touched while I was doing
Yes.
the Estes at Fort Mifflin.
On your shoulder.
And I was like hunched over, rocking, stuff
Yes.
like that,
Yeah.
and that I don't even know I realized I did.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting in the chair. I think I was under Estes for a minute,
Not even.
not even when I overcoming feeling of nausea.
Yeah.
Like I was like, if I don't get out of here, I am going to puke. I don't. I'm one of those people that do not. I have a phobia of vomiting, so I don't. I've never been. When I get nauseous, it's very rare. So I was like, okay, I need to get out. So I pulled myself out of Estes, and pretty much was like, I feel sick. I'm gonna go upstairs.
Bail.
That's what I was like. I say I'm gonna bail. I'm gonna go get a snack, and you guys were like, okay, like let us know if
Good,
you need
yeah.
anything. Let me know. And Ron walked me up the stairs because he wanted to make sure that nothing's gonna happen to me.
Right?
Yeah.
So he followed me up the stairs and made sure that I got there. But it was like an overcoming feeling of I was gonna be sick.
Yeah.
And then I go upstairs and I sat down on the couch with a snack and I did not move
Yeah.
after that. And then didn't you guys got my name on the Estes?
So then
Yeah.
when you went upstairs, I think I did.
You took over.
And I got your name a couple of times. But before I got your name, as when I put it on, Emily came through and someone's talking in my left ear and it sounds like Emily. And I didn't realize that apparently mimicking
There's
is a
mimic,
big
yeah.
it's a big thing at the Haunted Manor. And I couldn't figure out what you were saying, but I didn't realize until I took the headphones off. I'm like, that sounded like Emily talking in my ear.
Yeah.
You said a couple of things to me. I'm like, why am I hearing her voice? You weren't talking.
Yeah.
And when you're under, you can't hear.
Exactly.
So you had when we were there the first time, you had the mimic,
Yes.
and then
It mimicked Morgan and you.
okay,
But I was up in the X room.
and but then you heard Morgan being distressed.
Yeah,
was
she
on
said,
the
"Help
third
me."
Floor. You were on the second floor, right under her.
Yeah.
and she was.
And I came out, I pulled my blindfolds off, and I was like, hey, check on her and make sure she's okay, because I got her saying, help me. And it was
So scary.
it was.
But I
it was
think
really creepy.
It's also interesting because I think if I had known all of that going in, you have those things in your mind, and it's like, was it Cindy? No, what's her name from the Dead Files?
Amy Adams?
Amy Allen.
Amy Allen,
always removes everything. They remove everything from the house so she doesn't have any ideas.
Yeah.
Like anything religious, anything, they remove all that when she goes in to do a reading of a house. So I think going in blindly, again, matters, because if I had known about the whole mimic thing in the back of your, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
in the back of your mind, I feel like you need to go into somewhere. I think Cindy Kaza does the same thing
She does too.
She doesn't know anything and goes in.
Right.
And Michelle, as we were talking about earlier, Belanger, that's important because I didn't know any of this stuff.
And I think that's why I like going in too. I don't want to know.
I'm glad you didn't share it with us.
Yeah, because you need those validation keys. And now you know. And so I knew. And when you said that, and I was like, yeah, there's a mimic here. Like, yes, that makes sense.
Well,
So-
I got a mimic now that I'm thinking about it later. Remember, we went down the basement again, and we'll have to go back into that. But I went under Estes again down the basement with Ray. And we were doing a double Estes, and I was under for a while, and I kept getting you in the basement. I got
So
you
you
more.
Colleen?
So I was just going to say, for those of you who
Colleen,
can't say,
sorry. I got Colleen down the basement multiple times, and it was like it sounded like you were trying to ask questions, but they were questions like trying to get someone to talk through Estes. It was very
That's
strange.
interesting.
Like, it sounded like they literally heard you say that and they just mimicked you like a parrot.
it's crazy.
But I could not hear you.
Thank you for listening. If you have a story you'd like to tell us, please email us at onlyghostsinthebuilding@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram at Only Ghosts in the Building or Facebook at Only Ghosts in the Building. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/Only Ghosts in the Building. And you can come join for free, or we have a $1 a month tier or a $5 a month tier. Come check us out. We have a lot of good content there. I really enjoy the app and all its capabilities. You can listen, you can watch, and you can read and check out all our content right on there. We have merch for sale at onlyghostsinthebuilding.com. There's some really cute stuff, including kids' clothes. Go check that out. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.